ไม่นี่
All right, there we go.
Okay, we're good. All right. Jeez Louise, that
That was
was
very weird. Our
couple
apologies.
couple minutes of weirdness. Sorry, guys. All right, we're gonna try this again. Take 17,000. What's going on, guys? It's Dom and Gonz Sports Talk. I'm Dom. That's Gonz. Hope you guys are enjoying your Sunday. We're back at it again, but this time we're going to be another special episode here. We're inviting on one of my good friends of mine. We beef a little bit because he is not a Ravens fan. He is a Pats fan. But either way, he's still a good friend of mine. Known him for years. We're gonna get him on in here, so he can talk with you guys. While we're waiting for him to join, hope you guys enjoyed your week. It's been hot, God. It's been insanely hot these past couple of weeks. And okay, it took no
Perfect
time,
timing.
no introduction needed. Everybody, it's my good friend Rushaad. Rushaad, say hello to the people. Glad to have you on board, brother. Thank you for making the time for us today.
Thanks for having me. Happy to be here.
Of course. Now, obviously, we're starting the show off. Not breaking news, but we got some news this afternoon. DeAndre Hopkins officially chooses his next home. He's headed to the Tennessee Titans. Now, a lot of speculation, a lot of reports these past couple of weeks. Patriots, Titans. And now we see he's going to the Titans. First off, let me know your thoughts about that. Obviously, I know past fans was looking forward to this one. What the heck happened? Like,
I was a little salty when I saw the news. I thought it was fake news. But I think it was a money thing. Bill being cheap. So I think they offered him more money. I don't think it's about winning, because I think the Titans, no shade to any Titans fans out there, but I think they're in QB purgatory right now. And if you look at his bucket list, he said that he wanted a great QB, a good defense, because defense wins championships, and stable management. I can't name 3 Pro Bowlers on the Titans defense. Their starting QB for now is going to be Tannehill. And they drafted Will Levis, and they just drafted Malik Willis, so I don't know what the plan is there. And then management, I guess they're middle of the road, but I think and it's a weak division too. I guess, Nashville is a better place to live than Boston. I don't know, man. I don't know.
Yeah, it caught my eye as soon as I saw the announcement today, because it's like, I don't even really see Tennessee. I mean, even with the division is weak. I feel like we can all agree here the division is not all that in a bag of chips. But I feel as though it's kind of coming with emerging talent. Like, the Jaguars aren't slouches. They're going to be back this year. They're going to be fast-paced and stronger as ever, especially with Ridley being back. The Texans, I mean, obviously no one's saying, oh, my God, Super Bowl contenders. But, like, we don't know what Stroud could do. Obviously, they drafted the defensive piece again with their top picks. I mean, they're not going to be like contenders, but they could be coming in the future. So you're right, the division is weak, but D-Hop, like, are you seeing something with the Titans that we don't see? Because I'm not
might have a vision. He might have a
Let
vision.
me get in on this real quick. So first of all, Rushaad, nice to meet you, man.
Nice to meet
Hope you're doing good. Why are we so disappointed? Okay, so I get we're disappointed that they're not on our teams, but we should be happy with the fact that he is not on a contending squad, a.k.a. the Chiefs, the Bills, and the AFC. So let him go rot somewhere else. And I know that sounds kind of disrespectful, but, at least he's not going to be a threat. I hope I don't eat my words. I'm going to knock on some wood. It appears that he won't be a serious threat on the Tennessee Titans. So I'm actually not that disappointed, although our Ravens will play them in London. But like y'all said, they do not have too much to offer on the offensive side of the ball in Tennessee, especially at the wide receiver position. So it could just be almost a one-man show. Maybe him and Treylon Burks could be just the top guys there. Now let me ask you, what's your favorite team again, Rushaad? Could you tell the fans what your favorite squad is?
I am a Patriots fan. Pats Nation.
All right. There you have it. Now let me ask you something about your Patriots. And of course we're going to go over all the offseason moves that you guys covered and your thoughts. But you obviously a little bit disappointed you didn't sign D-Hop. How do you feel about your wide receiver corps heading into 2023?
I mean, now that we have now that we have an actual offensive coordinator, I feel okay. Tyquan Thornton looked pretty good at camp. We've got Juju, we got Mike Gesicki. I know he's a tight end, but we're probably going to put him in the slot. Devontae Parker, Kendrick Bourne. So, I mean, none of these guys are like, number ones, but I think what I say all the time when I'm playing Madden, scheme beats team. So I think they're going to scheme up some stuff to get these guys open. So, I mean, would I have loved to see D-Hop? Yeah, because that way we can really decide if Mac's the guy with a true number one. Like, I think it's unfair to judge Mac with, like, a subpar supporting cast, So I'm all right. I'm optimistic. I'm cautiously optimistic. Long story short.
I feel like that's fair. I feel like that's fair to say. Like, because obviously the AFC East, I would say, is probably one of the most competitive divisions we have in football right now. I mean, as far as like star power, talent is definitely going to be a slobber knocker at the end of the year. Now, my thing is that, and we've talked about this before, especially when we're at like work and stuff, like I can't judge Mac because I haven't been able to judge Mac these past couple of years because he hasn't had like that top tier talent to where like Allen has his digs. I mean, Tua has Waddle and Hill, and Mostert was kind of a problem in the backfield most of the time. You know what I mean? So like I haven't been able to judge Mac. And now if you guys would have gotten D-Hop, this would have been like, oh shoot, so this is it. You know what I mean? New coordinator, new offensive weapon. Like, bro, let's see what you guys can do. Now it seems as though a lot of people are counting you guys out still, not really giving you all the credit you guys deserve because you weren't able to make that move. What are you saying to those who are saying, like, you guys aren't doing anything this year? Like, what do you have to say to those guys in particular about the Patriots heading into 2023?
Well, I mean, if you remember, we had a top 5 defense last year. Judon was
Really?
top 5 in sacks. Maybe, I don't know, he fell off towards the end of the year, but Judon's always a problem first half of the year, right? We got Judon, we've got Ramondre Stevenson. I think he's going to take a big leap because Damian Harris is gone, right? So, I mean, look, on paper, the Jets look crazy on paper, right? So I can't argue that, and I think it's the Bills' division to lose. I'm still not a big Tua believer either, because he's got to finish the whole season. He's injury prone. That sucks for him. But I think we have a real good chance to finish second because if you look at the games we lost last year, like that Raiders game, like that was bad coaching. Like the Chandler Jones, bad coaching. The Bengals game, we were down 21-0 at half, and we came back and lost because of a fumble at the goal line, right? So that's another one. That's 2 games that could have swung. You know what I mean? So it's not like the whole season was bad. Like there were some good takeaways last year, and now that we have competent coaching, I think we're going to take a step in the right direction.
Okay.
All right.
It's good to see how optimistic you are heading into the season.
I mean,
people are giving you all the credit.
Your take about potentially finishing second, that is not completely insane because, again, the Jets
really
are – I mean, how do we know Aaron Rodgers isn't going to dominate? Like, we don't know. Like, he could be subpar. He could be average. He could be good. If he is super good, then, yeah, the Jets most likely will be good because they are a stacked roster on both sides of the ball. And we've talked about this on this show before. I am not a fan of Tua. I really am not. I just don't. I'm not a believer. I know he did well last year, I just don't. I can't expect him to keep that same level of play, game in and game out, year in year out. To take it a step further, I don't know. I feel like they got a lot of lucky wins last year, especially against
Us
the
being
Baltimore
one of them.
Ravens.
Us being
Um,
one of them, bro.
I
Oh
mean,
my gosh.
he's just throwing it up. I mean, games like, and I know you want to make that argument. Oh, he was concussed. He was playing with concussions. The NFL was violating, or there was violations allowing him to play. I don't know. Those are all conspiracy theories. We don't know exactly what happened. But bottom line is he threw lots of bad picks towards the end of the year, and the Dolphins almost lost out like they always do, lose out the last six or seven games. So I don't know. I mean, if Tua can't keep up, then I could definitely see them finishing in last place. If the
Yeah.
injuries they mount again, and then they have to go to
Man.
Bridgewater. I mean, and if the Patriots come together and like you said, I didn't know you had all these wide receivers. They're not garbage. They're all established starters. Like none of these people are, I don't want to say unproven, but they all had starting experience at other teams like Kendrick Bourne, 49ers, Devontae Parker, very good on the Dolphins.
Yeah. When he's healthy.
Yeah, and he cut us up last year when we played. Luckily, we were just better on offense.
Yeah, I mean, y'all have the reason we lost now. Enjoy Nelson Aguilar. Enjoy him.
Listen, man. Listen.
He looks good in camp. He looks good in camp.
He looks all right. He looks decent right
so
now.
Always
We'll
does.
take him for right
He
now.
always does.
So this sets up a very exciting NFL season. I'm excited. So let's backtrack a little bit. Let's go back to free agency and the draft. Didn't you guys pick up, I believe it was Christian Gonzalez at corner? So that just adds to that defense that I did not know it was a top 5 defense last year. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
So
go
ahead.
No,
go ahead. Go ahead. What are your thoughts?
We didn't have a true number one because we let JC go to the Chargers. And I think if you look at Pro Football Focus, Jonathan Jones was like I think top 10 in coverage stats when like the ball was thrown at him. I know he got cooked a lot, but like Justin Jefferson ate him up, Tyreek Hill, but those are like all-star guys, right? But even still, Jonathan Jones, I think he was top 10 in the league. And now that we have Christian Gonzalez, I think he's already going to be starting as a rookie. That's a good sign. He was good in camp. I mean, I saw a joke that said he's going to look great in camp when Max is QB. Yeah, I don't want to get into that, but yeah, I think he's gonna have a breakout year because I thought he was the best corner in the draft. So and he slid to us, so I'm thankful.
Yeah, I don't think y'all are missing out on JC. He got cooked last year.
Yeah, that was pretty.
I hate to say that too because I love JC. I do. I love him as a player, but bro, he was getting cooked last year. Like Chargers defense was doing nothing last year, bro. And they had some pieces on them last year.
Yeah.
Like Khalil, Joey, JC, Derwin. Like they weren't really doing much. I don't really think y'all are missing out with JC. You guys got a really good young piece with Christian to help round that defense out. Speaking of free agency though, there is one last piece to the free agency chess game that we haven't seen move yet. That's Dalvin Cook. He has not yet chosen a home yet as far as teams. Now, honestly, the Patriots were another one on the radar as free agency for Dalvin. Would this be someone that you guys would want? And if you do get him, do you feel like he has that same impact that D-Hop most likely would have had if he would have signed, as far as like making a playoff run to a Super Bowl?
That's a really good point. I'm glad you bring that up because Devontae Parker restructured his contract, I think last week to free up cap space. And I'm thinking, all right, that's clearing up space for D-Hop. But now that he's on the Titans, we still have all that space. So Dalvin could come to us. I don't think he's gonna be like, the needle mover, because I felt like Stevenson was good last year, on his own. And I don't think our issues came from the running back position, right? So, I mean, sure, it'd be great to have him, a Pro Bowl caliber running back on the roster, but I'm just not sure that it makes the most sense. I honestly, I think he'd be better with y'all. Just me personally.
Shoot, I mean, I wouldn't mind having him.
I
I wouldn't.
we got too many people, in my opinion. Like, we gotta let Dobbins eat this year. We gotta let Gus Edwards pound it in on the one. You know, I feel like bringing in Dalvin would create tension, especially in the running back room, because he's Dalvin. What does Dalvin consider? He could be, I don't know. I would say more of a speed type of back. Maybe he's kind of confusing. Sometimes he does some powerful runs, and sometimes it's a stretch guy running outside, cut it upfield, all the way for a 50-yard gain. So I don't know. Yeah, Ravens love their running backs, and you could back me up if I'm wrong or correct me if I'm wrong. But I don't know. I'm fine with not getting him. I think that we could establish the people we have, and we also got Justice Hill as our number 3 back. I think we are good on running back, in my opinion. I'm saying this very carefully. But yes, I do agree with your point, Rushaad, that if he did come to us, I bet he would be very effective. But I feel like that would bury our other guys' production, and that would create issues behind, off the field. It's something we don't need this year. We've been dealing with that over and over again. This year, we just want to clear our heads and go play ball and go win a bowl, because we all know we're about to do that. No, I don't know. I'm hoping. But, that's my thought.
I think his best landing spot. Yeah, I think his best landing spot is somewhere in the AFC East, because I feel like the AFC East is kind of that, other than the Patriots and probably the Jets, but they're probably that one division that, like, the Bills and the Dolphins, they kind of lack a running game, like a good, consistent, strong running game. Bills, I could definitely speak on that. They dude, like, if Allen just is running all the time, like, bro, he's prone to, like, make a mistake. So I feel as though if he gets, like, a Dalvin Cook, for example, somebody he can lean on in the backfield, that could limit that. I mean, that's just from my perspective. But, Miami, I don't know how long they're going to lean on Mostert out in the backfield. So having Dalvin there would, like, maybe take some pressure off of Tua to not have to maybe throw as much this year, because, I mean, I feel like that's kind of how he's gotten injured. Like, he's always dropping back, and then, all of a sudden, oh, my God. So I feel like those two teams will probably need him the most. But I agree, though. I feel like with the Ravens, as much as we probably would love to have him, we need to see what Dobbins can do, like, in the backfield on 2 legs, not one, because he was on one last year, and he was still a piece.
He's injury prone, isn't he? Like, he always has, like, a hamstring or a shoulder or I don't know. But when he plays, he's, like, explosive. He's a top 5 back in the league. But, like, I can't remember the last time he finished the whole season. And then, like, you mentioned the Dolphins. They picked up I think it's Jeff Wilson from the Niners mid-season, right?
Yeah.
The Bills would make the most sense. His brother plays there too, so
that would be nasty. James Cook and Dalvin on the same
Cook
team.
duo in the backfield. That'd be kind of
cooking it up.
I kind of feel the same way about Hopkins. Don't let somebody good like that go to a contender, because it would hurt our chances. So he can go to a garbage team. How about the Titans? How about that?
Gonna die.
But
I don't understand that either, because literally Belichick gave Jonnu Smith 4 years, $50 million to play with the Patriots. But he couldn't give D-Hop 2 years, $26 million with, like, 32 max and six. I still don't understand that, bro.
I don't either. And I'm a fan. I don't either. I mean, like, we couldn't even figure out how to use Jonnu. Like, he's on the Falcons now. Like, and we just had to take the cap hit. Like, I don't get it. I mean, I feel like if we had Bill O'Brien with Jonnu for one more year, he could unlock him, sure, because Jonnu's an athlete, but I don't get it, bro. He spent all his money on him and didn't even use it. I don't know, man. I don't see the vision. I don't know.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know. So where does this put the Titans next year? Like, so are they number 2 in the division? Maybe 3 next to the other 3 teams in the league? Like, where do they sit now with D-Hop there? Because I mean, I'm not saying they don't become contenders right off the bat, but at least they compete a little more with him at the helm. So where does this put them for next year?
I think it still puts them 2 behind the Jags, because like I said, on paper they look good. Like, same thing with the Jets. On paper they look great, but I think Trevor Lawrence has proven that, he's a great QB, right? That can win playoff games. I just Tannehill looked bad last year, right? Like, I
Yeah,
mean,
he did not
Yeah.
look great.
I don't know what that
Which we love to see.
situation is going to look like, right? So,
Yeah.
and then the Texans again. CJ looked good in camp. I don't know what he's going to look like, on the field. And same thing with the Colts with Anthony Richardson. So I mean, like, the proven team in that division is the Jags, and until proven otherwise, I'm going to say them. And then they're only getting better, like you mentioned with Calvin Ridley. Like, I mean,
Right.
that's going to be a true number one with Christian Kirk, Zay Jones, Evan Ingram. You know what I mean? Like, they're going to be stacked.
Yeah,
I
Ridley's going to have something
I
to
think
prove.
the Tennessee Titans will probably be 2 or maybe 3 if they have a garbage season and one of the rookies actually step up. Again, Jacksonville, yes, they were good, but don't forget they started 3-7 last year. Let's also not forget that all those wins, well, maybe not all of them, but at least 2 or 3 in that big 6-game winning streak to go to 9-8 were from just complete chokes from the other squad. So
Us being one
I
of them.
don't. I sort of like how I feel about Tua and the Dolphins. I'm not ready to stamp the Jaguars as automatic division winners yet because they got to demonstrate to me that they can be a reliable, trustworthy team with a good offense. I know they're getting Calvin Ridley back from suspension. That'll be helpful, but I don't know. I'm something I can't really explain it, but I can't really fully say Trevor Lawrence has got that over that hump yet. I think if he can do a full season and be a very good quarterback, consistent, and lead his team back to the playoffs and make some noise, then I might be on more of that side of okay, the Jaguars are legit. But I don't know. I don't know. They're sort of a young squad that came on late last year, so I still think they have a little bit more to prove before I can stamp them. All right, they're automatic division winners. Don't be surprised if the Titans have an average to, subpar to average to slightly above average year. That could be enough for that division.
Yeah.
It could be.
Yeah.
So I don't know. A division winner could be 8-9. We could have another Falcons year where the Panthers, it was the Panthers that won the division at like 7-9 a couple years ago and got a playoff home game. That's disgusting. They got to change that rule. But I don't know. That is a very competitive division, in my opinion, in the worst ways imaginable because all of the teams.
In the worst ways, yes. In the worst ways, yes.
Now, the Jaguars might shot. I may be completely wrong and sound like an idiot. The Jaguars might come out and start 5-0 and dominating the NFL. But that's very possible. But just I can't put my finger on it exactly why. I just can't stamp them as automatic division winners. They've got to demonstrate to me a little bit more before they earn my full trust.
I get it. I totally get it. But just look at the competition in the division.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just by process of elimination. You've got 2 rookies and an aging QB, right? So I just think by process of elimination, they have to be at the top. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Like, I trust Trevor Lawrence more than I trust CJ, more than I trust Tannehill, more than I trust. I don't know.
No, you're not wrong. That's what I'm saying. It's very possible that they could be very good and just way better. But last year they took some really bad L's.
No, you're right.
Davis Mills and the Texans.
You're right.
When they started 1-11 and won, because I think they had a tie in there too. That one win was against Trevor Lawrence and the Jags at their home. And they also took a bad loss to Matt Ryan and the Colts, where they gave up 37 points. So
you could argue, you could say that's because they were division opponents, and those are the guys that know you the best, because those are some of the ugliest games against your division rivals. Like, we played the Jets, and it was all field goals, and we won on the last-second kick return. Like, that was one of the ugliest games I've ever seen in my life. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, man. It was I hear your point, though. I totally hear your point.
Yeah, it's very, those were also division teams too. Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. See, it supports my argument and yours. It's weird because they're garbage teams, but they are division teams. So, they could be terrible and go 1-11 and that one win being being against you like it was last year. So,
Bad look.
yeah. Anyway, all right. Can we go back to the Patriots for a second? And I know you covered Mac earlier, but I want to hear your official take. Is Mac Jones the guy in New England?
If you ask me, yeah, I think he is. I think so. As a rookie, I think he led the league in completion percentage. He was a Pro Bowler as a rookie. Again, I do not think a lot of last year's mishaps were on him because the offensive coordinator was a defensive guy. So I just don't think that was fair to him. And he still has never had a true number one receiver, right? And to even make my point even stronger, without a true number one receiver, he made the playoffs. He was a Pro Bowler. He had a good touchdown to interception ratio. You know what I mean? So that just shows me he's a great decision maker. He's got good football IQ. Everybody's gonna say he's a check down manager. That's why the completion percentage is good. No, he doesn't have a noodle arm. No, I think he is a great QB and he processes the game very well. And he was just put in an unfavorable situation last season. So this year we're gonna see. This is like the real true test if he's gonna be the guy. Like that's what I firmly believe Mac is the guy for New England.
Yeah, I've seen good things from him too. Dom, we'll go to you in a second, but what do you think about the scrutiny he's under? I feel like the coaching staff has really not given him the best chance because in my opinion, now this is my take, my opinion, I think it was pretty disappointing to see Bailey Zappi get a couple starts over him. I think that's kind of disrespectful because this is your round one pick, your quarterback. I know he was dealing with injury, but when they brought him back and they gave him one game and they didn't have and I may be wrong, correct me if I'm wrong. I think they brought him back for like a Thursday night game, right? Was it?
It was against the Bears.
Against the Bills, had a subpar game against a very good team, and then they yanked him. Or
it was the Bears. It was the Bears.
Oh, Bears. Sorry, my bad.
He played the first drive, and then they pulled him. But after the game, they said that was the plan all along. I see that Jeremy just said that he wouldn't be good in any other system. I don't think that's true. You see that Tom was good with the Bucks. But Tom's a unicorn, so I can't use that argument. But I think Mac is a great QB with great IQ. So I just think like the way he processes the game, But like to your point, I just think it's the coaching staff just they're failing him.
Yeah.
Like I don't know how to put it.
Do we say it's just the coaching staff, or do we also say it's management? Because at this point now, you said before they have a top 5 defense. I can't really argue it because I know last year we a little struggled with it a little bit when it came to playing y'all and then playing that defense. So, but I agree with you. Coaching has not done Mac his justice. We've seen Mac be emotional on the sidelines, saying how he feels like, bro, like he went at Matt Patricia last year a couple of times. Like, bro, what the hell are we doing on this field? But right. So, at this point now, do you feel as though you give Mac that one weapon, you give Mac his digs? You know what I mean? Do you think that raises his status among the quarterbacks in the AFC? Because we've seen it happen. Like we mentioned earlier, we've seen people get that one person. That's all they need to be like, bro, this guy is something different. So do you think if you guys were to get that raises Mac's status, like among like a Lamar Jackson, a Patrick Mahomes, a Josh Allen, a Burrow, these guys? Like, where do you think that puts him if he does get that one weapon?
I do think he'll move up. I don't think he'd be top 5 because he's competing with MVPs and guys that have been in Super Bowls. But I do think he might be top 10 because y'all remember how Josh Allen looked before Stephon Diggs? Y'all remember how Tua looked before Tyreek? How Kyler looked before DeAndre? Joe Burrow still looked good without Jamar. I mean, he had T. Higgins, but I think you give him a true number one, it's going to elevate his game because we've seen it. Like, history is going to repeat itself, right? So I think he'll slide maybe 7, 8 overall in the league. I don't think he cracks top 5 without like a Super Bowl win or like an MVP, right? Because you look at the top 5 guys, you got Mahomes, Lamar, Hurts, Burrow, and Allen, right? Like, and I feel like nothing Mac can do winning wise would matter unless he has something to show for it. You know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah, I see what you mean on that one. I mean, I feel as though he's like I said, we talked about this before. I have no ill feeling toward Mac. I think Mac is a great talent, and I haven't been able to judge his talent because I feel as though he's had to do a lot of carrying on his back as far as the Patriots' offense. Like, obviously, you guys have a good running game with Stevenson, and that I believe I forgot who your second running back was.
Ty Montgomery, Pierre Robinson,
Yeah,
Pierre Strong.
Pierre Strong. Thank you.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. So I feel as though he's had to carry a burden, like not having someone like a reliable person to throw the ball to. Now, D-Hop would have gave you guys that, but obviously he wants to listen to country music all day, so I guess that's fine. But at that point now, I haven't been able to judge Mac these past couple of years. This year, I think with a different play caller, he's going to show us what you're saying as far as talent is concerned. Like, we hear the reports out of camp. He's just flinging it at this point. Like, he's just throwing the lights out of the daggone field at that point. But, we got to see it in game. We got to see it against these AFC competitors this year. And like we said before, the division it's not solid to anybody because I don't really trust anybody in the AFC East. Like we said before, I don't really trust Josh Allen. I saw him choke last year against the Bengals in a playoff game. Miami, I don't trust Tua's health. I don't know if he can stay on the field for a full 17-game season. Like, I haven't seen it yet. As far as the Jets, we have no idea what the hell they're going to do because we haven't seen Aaron Rodgers play a single down for them yet with the weapons that he now has. So, I mean, I feel as though that division is up for grabs for you guys. It's just a matter of, do you guys want it? Who wants it more? And
do we want it?
This is it. Do you want it? Like, you know what I mean? If you guys want it, it's there. Like, you gotta have the defense to compete with it. Will the offense show up? To put some points on the board because defense can win championships, but you have to be able to go tit for tat with a lot of these guys because these are top tier quarterbacks you're going up against.
I think defense kept us in a lot of games last year, but it just came down to the offense. We couldn't keep up with the elite talent like the Bengals or the Bills. Like, I mean, we were playing pretty well against y'all, but that was because Devontae Parker looked like Megatron in that game. I don't know what happened with that.
I don't know.
We played y'all. And we played the Eagles week 1, right? So that'll be the best test to see if we're improved due to the coaching staff and some of these offseason additions. But yeah, man, it was hard watching that offense last year. Screen pass, draw play, another screen pass, punt, right? Like, that was literally the recipe. And then if you get sacked, it's like screen pass, draw play, another screen pass. Like, it was just no variation. It was no play action.
Yes.
It was
no
motion.
Good offensive consistency. Yes,
it was bad. Like, it was hard to watch.
Yeah, that was the really. And then does Mac? Would you say that Mac Jones has wheels? Can he roll out? Can he throw on the run? Okay, well, he's doing it all over us, and that was so frustrating.
Oh my God,
he was running like crazy on us in that Week 3 game. I'm like, are you kidding me? We got him gritty in the end zone after a rushing touchdown.
I loved it.
I was so upset. I'm like, are you kidding me? You played the garbage Ravens defense, the garbage first half of the season. Ravens
no, we
defense.
were abysmal. We were abysmal in that game, bro. Mac Jones was looking like Mac Vick, bro. Like, he was just wheeling and dealing. His celebration after he got that one touchdown on it, I was like, oh my God.
So bad.
Oh my God. I'm actually kind of glad we won that game because I would not have been able to live it down if we would have lost. Oh my God.
Started turning the ball over late in the game, and that helped us throwing picks to linebackers, which is what we definitely needed. But anyway, can I shift gears real quick to Coach Belichick? All right, so Brady leaves in 2019, throws a pick six in the playoff game, and that's his last Patriot play. Very, very gross, very, very awkward. But that's not what I'm talking about. I just wanted to throw some Brady shade. But anyway, 2020 struggled a bit, right? Got Cam Newton at quarterback. Offense dipped down. 2021 was Mac Jones's rookie year, right? And that was your playoff year. He did really good, Pro Bowl. And then 2022, Mac Jones, quarterback, took time off from injury, had to deal with Bailey Zappi. Offense was not very good. And in your words, your defense carried the squad in 2022. So if 2023 is the same story, good defense, Mac Jones doesn't develop, struggles, gets benched, coaching staff has him under scrutiny again, is it time to just consider moving on from possibly the best coach of all time? And do you think that maybe by the end of Brady's career, Coach Belichick might have started to take a back seat to Brady and just let him run? So now when it's time for crunch time with a new quarterback, you don't know what to do. What do you think? Am I overreacting, or let me hear your thoughts?
I don't know. It's a great question. Great two-parter. I really don't have an answer for that first one. I mean, on one hand, I kind of want to see like a new face to shake up everything. But on the other hand, I mean, it's thanks to Belichick that like a lot of free agents do want to come there because they want to play for Bill. I don't want to say it's thanks to him that the defense looks that way, because Bill's always been good at drafting defense and not offense. So he's part of the reason we're in the situation we're in on offense, because he's terrible at drafting. But if we have another bad season, I think he might be on the hot seat, but I don't think he's going to get fired or anything like that. I think the only way he leaves is if he wants to leave. I think that's the only way that happens there. And then to your second point, I mean, maybe. I mean, who's to say, right? Because Brady had been there for so long, so he kind of knew like how everything he liked. He knew like tendencies and things of that sort. So like, and he knew what defenses wanted to throw at him. So like, I guess I don't know. I honestly I don't know. Like because I think it was maybe a 60-40, 60 Brady, 40 Belichick type of relationship.
Do you think that could contribute a little bit to the struggles now with somebody else at the helm? That's what you're saying?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, because Brady always knew what to do in crunch time.
Mm-hmm.
So Mac might be new to this situation. And I agree that Mac will go before Bill. Even though Kraft loves Mac Jones, I do think Mac is going to be out the door before Bill will, because Bill is just loved, So that's a tough one. I really struggle to answer that. I'm.
It's just hard to compete with that pedigree. It's just hard to compete with the pedigree that he has. Like believe he is the most winningest coach in NFL at this point in time. I mean, he has the rings next to it. Now, obviously, the argument has been ever since Brady left, has it been more Belichick than Brady or more Brady than Belichick? Obviously, Brady won one after he left the Patriots. Bill hasn't been as successful.
Look,
that
Brady went to a team that was already stacked. He went to a team that was just missing. The plane was already built. It just needed a pilot, right? It needed a competent pilot, right? Because literally they had a top 5 defense, top 5 offense, a good head coach. All they were missing was a QB. He went to the perfect situation, and even then, they almost lost to a wild card team that year, right? Like, they almost lost to Taylor Heineke. So, I mean, like, even still, it was a perfect situation for Tom. Bill wasn't ready for Brady's departure. That's why we had to get Cam. Then Cam got COVID that year, and so that year was washed. Then when we stacked up against the Bills in the playoffs, the next year, it was like, okay, Mac is a good QB, but the talent is lacking on the roster, right? So then the next year, Bill thought, okay, I'm Bill. I can do whatever. I can make a defensive coordinator, an offensive coordinator, and this will still work. Obviously, it didn't. So now this is him saying he was wrong with Bill. So, I mean, I think this is a big year for Bill's legacy because he's had enough time to develop Mac. We've got a good offensive coordinator he's familiar with. Sure, the weapons are lacking, but the defense is still good. So I think now's as good a time as any to see how Bill really is going to look.
Yeah, I agree. And I think, and the roster might not even be fully set. We don't know. Like, obviously, the beginning of the year, this is probably what the team's going to look like, but we don't know what could happen midway between the year. You guys can make a move. Bill sees something lacking, hopefully, because, I've been questioning Bill a little bit lately with some of the decisions he's been making. Obviously, his football mind is like a billion times better than mine, so I'm not going to sit here and criticize him because he knows what he's doing, but I don't know. So, I do see your point though. Brady did go to a fully established roster to win that Super Bowl with the Bucs year one. So we have to see what Bill can do with Mac, and to see if Mac can get the Patriots back to the dynasty promised land that they were once in, because that's what they were looking like.
They got to give
a dynasty.
Mac a fair chance, though. They got to treat him well.
You do.
They
I
can't
agree.
yank him out of the game, and I don't care if that's a pre-plan or anything. You got to let your your young quarterback who's a round one pick try to get as many reps as possible. And I don't know. I'll be honest. I'm this is just my opinion. Like I said, I'm not a Patriots fan. I start to question Belichick's judgment over the past year or so. It's like I've heard a lot of jokes online. Is he getting senile? Is he getting too old? Is he, but he needs to make sure Mac Jones has the best supporting cast around him. And obviously, you don't have that specific number one guy, but the most help that the coaching staff can give would benefit him for this next year without any, no unfair yanks or, treat him well with injuries. Don't just throw him in there. Just, I feel like that they can do that. Honestly, because Belichick has the track record. Now prove that it was you and not just Brady, right?
Yeah, I agree.
Some of the decisions last year, like I didn't agree with the decision to pull him, because if he's not healthy, why put him out there to begin with?
Exactly,
right? Because now you're only hurting his ego, right? You're benching him, and then I'm sure he heard the media that, they wanted Zappy to start over him. So that was the whole thing. And he was non-committal the whole year about who was going to be the starter. So, that was the whole thing. I just don't like how he handled that whole situation. Someone would ask him point blank, who's going to be the starter. And then he, gave a Belichick answer. I don't know. So I don't know, man. Like, I think senile is reaching a bit. But his decision-making, even on the staff, on the coaching staff, like Joe Judge is the quarterback coach when he's primarily a special teams guy, and then our special teams unit was awful last year. Like against the Bills, we win that game against the Bills, we make the playoffs, and we lose that game on 2 kick returns because opening kickoff. I get it. It was the miracle run for DeMar Hamlin. He was in the building. I hate that it had to be us. I get it. It was a fairy tale ending for those guys, but still, like, 2 kickoffs to the same guy. I mean, like,
that's crazy.
Like,
I'm not gonna lie. I thought they were gonna give him 3 for DeMar. I really did. I thought they were gonna go for 3 for DeMar for that one. I'm not gonna lie. Like, that would have been insane. Like, you would have to really question, is the NFL rigged? Because ain't no way somebody just got 3 kick returns.
I was already questioning rigged. I was already questioning rigged because that's just crazy. Just opening kickoff of the game is a Naheem Hines touchdown.
It doesn't make sense. It didn't make any sense. It
did not make sense.
That was last season. I'm over it. The scars and wounds have healed. Training camps around the corner, so I don't have to think about that anymore.
That's we have a rule on here: no salting allowed. So
yes, we try not to look on the past PTSD moments, because I definitely have mine. I try not to bring them up, but it's kind of hard not to.
Oh,
just gonna put that out there, man.
I had a lot of rules.
I was gonna. We're running a little short on time, so there are 2 more things that I want to ask. All right, at least for me. One thing. What is your final? You said second in the. What is your final prediction for the Patriots 2023 record? What do you think it's going to be?
17 games, right? 16?
Yes.
16?
Mm-hmm.
17. Yep.
10-7, maybe.
Okay.
10-7.
I think we hit 10 wins.
Is that enough to make the playoffs as a wild card?
It's gonna be tough. Shoot, the AFC is mad like three playoff teams.
It's gonna be a close one, man. It's gonna be a close one.
I'm trying to. Okay, so I'm looking at division leaders. I'm just gonna predict now. Chiefs, Jags. I know you're not ready to stake it. 7.
Wow. Okay. All right.
7 and 10. No, we're not going 7 and 10. No, that's disrespectful. No, I'm not talking like order like AFC ranking. Well, I'm just talking like division leaders. You're gonna hate me for saying this, but Bengals for the North. So then I think wild cards would be you guys, Chargers. I think we can sneak in. I think we can sneak in the back as the final spot. We'll be fighting with Dolphins. I'm not ready to put my claim on the Jets, but I think we'll be fighting with the Dolphins. But 7 and 10 was disrespectful. I think we're definitely going over 500.
Yes, at least over 500. At least over 500 for sure. I would have to say that. 7 to 10 is it's pushing it a little bit. Y'all not that bad. Let's give them some credit. At least a little bit of credit. Yeah. So my final question before we let you get out of here, like you brought up before, week 1, you're going up against a very, very tough opponent in the Philadelphia Eagles, who were in the Super Bowl last year, who I'm not going to lie, did not get worse. They got like the Georgia Eagles, as you like to call them, in the draft they just had. What is your score prediction for week 1 against the Eagles?
Oh, it's a fun one.
I think it'll be like 34-24 Eagles. I think we lose, and I think it's close the whole game until Mac throws a pick or a fumble. Like there's gonna be one turnover. There's gonna be one defining turnover because I think we're gonna be able to keep up with them. Because I think they're gonna underestimate our defense or whatever. Right? I think it's gonna be a close game. But I think we ultimately lose. I could be wrong. We could get blown off the field. You know, like first quarter it could be a blowout. But I think it'll be close because Tom Brady's gonna be in attendance, right? So I just
do it for Brady.
I think it's close.
Do it for Brady.
That's a good one. Brady. All right, so I have one final thing. This is my last. You answered my first one. Here's my final. I had 2 questions. This is my last one. Let's take a trip back to memory lane to the Patriot killer himself, Joe Flacco, because this is a Ravens channel. We talk all other teams, but our favorite team is the Ravens. So we're not a complete Ravens channel. Let me scratch that. But we are a football channel. Our favorite team is the Ravens. Which playoff loss to Joe Flacco hurt more? The blowout in 2009 or the 2012 rematch from that Billy Cundiff game that we also should have beat?
It's funny you call Flacco the Patriot killer. I call Bernard Pollard the Patriot killer because he was always injuring somebody. But I think 2012 because I was so frustrated because like it just felt like we couldn't move the ball like offensively. Like it was like nothing was working. Like I was so annoyed. And then I think that was the game Tom slid and tried to kick Ed Reed.
Yes.
Man, I was like, come on, what are we doing? I literally hated that. Like it was just, and then I hated that Ravens deep, like Terrell Suggs. Everybody was just acting all hype and confident and cocky. And I was just like, I was just so annoyed watching that game, bro. Like, I almost cut it off. Like, I was so mad. Like,
oh man, I loved it so much because we were hurting from 2011. That was my favorite one because there was only 2. You could make the strong argument that we should have won all 4 of those matchups against you with Flacco at quarterback because you guys cheated. And I'm saying
no. It was not proven. No, sir. It was not proven. Nobody.
Hey man, I looked weird. The way they explained it.
Rumors were spiraling. I don't know. The evidence. It seemed that the evidence was clear there.
Listen, I read in the morning on Monday morning after the game that the refs literally said that was illegal formation and it should have been called.
Whoa! It was in the rule book. Literally, it was. Now you see, more teams are starting to do that with the lineman reporting as eligible or ineligible, whatever it is. Like more teams are starting to do that now. Like it's in the rule book. it might be a loophole, but it's there. Like
It's there. I mean, that's a crazy loophole, though.
That was a
That's
classic
wild,
Belichick adjustment, man. We were cooking you guys. Cooking you guys. We were going to go back to the Super Bowl that year. We were.
bro.
We were cooking.
I
And then
remember.
it had to
I think the Danny
pull that
Amendola
out.
touchdown pass with the Edelman. I was
Oh,
like, okay, we cooking something here. We got something cooking. I was like, all right, I like this.
yeah.
And then it was. I hated watching that game because it was so back and forth. Like I was standing the whole time.
That was
like literally like.
That was an amazing game. It was probably one of the most fun
definitely-
Ravens games that I've watched in my entire Ravens fandom career. It was a lot of fun, but it was just a heartbreaking way to end with Flacco throwing 2 picks in the fourth quarter. After that spectacular first 3, I remember the game. He had 4 touchdowns and no picks through the first 3 quarters, and then turnovers galore in the fourth. And that's how you lose. That's how you lose.
That's how you lose, man.
Losing the turnover battle,
will
man.
cost you.
Yep.
Turnovers will cost you. All right, man. Well, we're going to let you get out of here because we are running short on time. We want to thank you again for joining us on this episode, brother. It's always great talking to you about your Pats. Wish you guys luck this season. Hopefully you guys can prove the haters wrong and make a deep run this year. You know, we'll see where you guys end up in the AFC East for sure.
Thanks for having me. This was definitely a fun talk. Very knowledgeable, both of you guys. This was a fun little football debate. You guys are lucky we don't play y'all this year. We cooked you. But
Yeah, okay. All right. Yeah, I don't know about that one.
Y'all
I
lost
don't
to
know
Cam
about
Newton
that one,
Patriots, so you know.
It rained. It rained. Yeah, don't even. No.
We had to
Don't
play
even
in the
start.
rain too. We had to play in it too. What do
Yeah,
you mean?
you had a lead, so you ran the ball the whole time.
Oh my goodness! Okay, we're running out of time. I'm gonna bring up that game where you guys do it was nothing but runs all game. I think it was that snow game. I forgot what game that was.
Oh, the
my
Bills
goodness.
against the Bills?
Yes, against the Bills. Yes, that's what you guys do.
Oh,
All
yeah.
That's
runs
what you got to
but
do to win,
effective.
bro.
All runs but effective. I got to give you that. I think there was like one pass thrown in that game, just one, but it was effective nonetheless. Oh my gosh! All right, guys, that'll do it for our show. Thank you guys for tuning in on another episode of Dom and Gonz Sports Talk. I'm Dom. That's Gonz. We want to thank Rushaad again for joining in. Catch you guys next Sunday for another one. Thank you guys so much.
Thanks for having me. Bye.
All right.